Good morning, everyone. This is a daily update about boots on the ground in Ukraine, hostage releases and ceasefires in the Middle East. Listen, I'm going to try and keep this video under 10 minutes, so I do apologize if I'm firing through this. I may do a follow-up video later on today. So, news of the day, if you live in the United Kingdom, Keir Starmer's traveled to Kyiv and he's meeting with Zelensky. They're talking about a 100-year deal, more support for Ukraine, more money to Ukraine, and inevitably boots on the ground. Now, if you guys have been following my channel, you know I've said this is inevitability for a long time. I'm just going to give you a headline here from the Mail Online. Britain to put boots on the ground in Ukraine. Keir Starmer and France's Emmanuel Macron in talks about peacekeeping tactics. Now, I'm not entirely sure that the Russians will see it like their peacekeeping tactics. Again, like months ago, I said this was the direction that they would go. They would try and push this out as some sort of peacekeeping force, push this out as some sort of training force. Remember, the boots are already on the ground. We know from various other mainstream media outlets that there are already special forces operating on the ground. We know that there's already a certain amount of training going on in Ukraine. So we know this is happening anyway. The Russians, they will obviously know this, but this big move, if it does come as a big move, I think this will just be happening slowly behind the scenes. And I don't think there will be a big H-hour day when everybody says, right, this is it, we're moving in. I don't think that's going to happen. I think they're going to trickle feed these in because they can do. It's a lot easier to send one tank, two tank, one truck full of soldiers, then another one a couple of days later. They don't need to do this big move. They don't need to do this big mass move where there's hundreds of troops and, the big column of British troops with Union flags and, everybody waving and festooning the road with rose petals. That sort of stuff's not going to happen. But what can we take? What else can we take from this? Now, the key thing that they're talking about a 100-year deal. Now, for the life of me, I have no idea what that means. A lot can change in 100 years. Keir Starmer has arrived in Kiev to sign what Downing Street is calling a landmark 100-year partnership with Ukraine. I mean, are they telling something that we don't know? Are the Labour Party going to be in power for the next 100 years? But what we can take from this, I do want to keep this video short, so I want to come on to what's been happening in the Middle East. What does Britain get out of this? First of all, they will get gas. Tons and tons of cheap gas from Ukraine. Remember, Ukraine is a huge gas producer. They've got a lot. They've got huge gas reserves in Ukraine. Also, what people don't realize is the minerals that are in Ukraine. There's a lot of minerals. People can mine in Ukraine. There's a lot of resources in Ukraine, and also food. Yeah, we kind of need it a lot more than we need anything else, other than water. So in Ukraine, the land is very fertile. It's deep black soil. It's very difficult for the tanks, but it's very good for growing stuff in. The agriculture system in Ukraine, it needs redevelopment. It needs investment. And again, what I always say about foreign investment, but listen, this is the way we're going. I'm telling you what's happening. Whether that's right or wrong, that's a different story. And I am trying to keep this video short. So that's kind of the direction we're going now. For the life of me, again, I don't know what that what 100-year deal means. But again, from another news article, and I'll put all these links in the description. Keir Starmer has traveled to Ukraine to meet Volodymyr Zelensky for the first time since he entered Downing Street, hailing a closer than ever partnership days before Donald Trump returns to the White House. What have I been saying? The United Kingdom will take the lead. The United Kingdom will take the lead in Eastern Europe. The United Kingdom will take the lead against the Russians because the United Kingdom have that strike capacity. Nowhere else in Europe does anyone have that strike capacity. Logistically, we don't need ships. We don't need aircraft. We can truck all our logistics of course, we need to cross the English Channel. We can truck all our logistics in through Europe, and this can go, basically road moves in civilian haulage companies. Sorry. So logistically, we can do all that. And that leads me now to the Middle East. So why is Donald Trump going to have his war in the Middle East round about March 2026? Well, it already comes down to it, guys. I've told you why, and I've given you lots of reasons why. Not least because they writ it into law that in 2023, 1st of November 2023, they writ it that a nuclear-armed Iran was unacceptable to that region. Remember, Donald Trump, what he said about the hostage releases, he said the hostages must be released by the time I get into office, or there will be hell to pay. Now, hang on, let me just look here. Now, as I understand it, this ceasefire deal with Hamas, with Israel, as I understand it, this agrees to 1,300 Hamas fighters being released. And as I understand it, 33 hostages being released of the 98. Now, 33 of the 98, that's like what, 35% or something. And 10 of those hostages that have been released are kind of coming back in boxes, if you know what I mean. So there's only going to be 23 live hostages released. Now, I've said this long ago. Those hostages can't be released because I don't believe that they have all of them. And you know, this is moving forwards. This is the dilemma that we're going to come under. Donald Trump's going to come out there and he's going to say, "Look, I didn't ask for 33 of the hostages back. I asked for all of the hostages back, which is 98. You guys sent me 33. Again, that number 33 pops up." So what I think is happening right now behind closed doors, I think they've come to some sort of agreement, and in whatever echelons of power, they've said, "Look, you know, we're going to get 33 of these hostages back. That's not the best deal, I agree, but let's just get them back. Once we've got them back, we've got control of them. We can look at getting the rest back." I don't think Donald Trump's going to take this. Donald Trump's not going to see this as a win. Donald Trump's going to see this as Donald Trump. Remember what he said: if the hostages are not released, they'll be hell to pay. He didn't say if 35% of the hostages are released, they'll be hell to pay. No, he wants them all back. And 33 out of 98 is not. It's not all the hostages released. So I would speculate that right now they're just saying, "Look, this is the deal that we've got. Let's get those hostages back. Once they're back, we can tell them, right, we want the rest of them. You've got a week." It's never going to happen because I don't believe they have them. I don't believe those hostages are with us anymore. I think some of the hostages, this is just me speculating now, guys. I'm just speculating that some of the hostages that they said were alive may not be anymore. This is just, they don't want to, the Hamas are trying to damage limit it, basically. They don't want this, they don't want the full force of the United States. So they're doing what they can to try and mitigate that. Anyway, guys, I'm going to try, I think I'm going to leave it there. The jokes of this video: boots on the ground in Ukraine. Keir Starmer's gone to Kyiv to meet with Zelensky. Who knows what they're talking about? But there's been 100. Let me just read that again. Actually, was it 100-year pact or 100-year landmark 100-year partnership? I have no idea what that means. I mean, does that mean 3 billion for 100 years? I don't know. Listen, who knows? We're in 2025. Anything could happen. The hostage deal, the ceasefire. To me, that is suboptimum. If I was negotiating for that, it would not be what I asked for, and I would not see that as a win. And I don't think Donald Trump's going to see that as a win. So I don't see the ceasefire holding. In fact, whether that ceasefire actually happens or not, I would put a very big question mark over that. Anyway, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to mag to grid, and I'll get you guys another video later. And I kept it under 10 minutes.